SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast discusses topics which are relevant to the everyday lives of seniors and their caregivers. We are joined by experts who share their knowledge on a variety of issues. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast offers solutions and resources to create the best quality of life as we age. And now, let's welcome your host, Darlene Mahoney.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, we have over 39 episodes of senior and caregiver resource podcasts that can be listened to and followed most anywhere you enjoy music or podcasts, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even Alexa, and many more. And please don't keep our podcast all to yourself. Share with a senior or caregiver who you think will benefit from the support that we provide. I am your host, Darlene Mahoney. I am excited to share the news that SeniorLivingGuide.com provides a one-stop to finding senior housing solutions, including independent and active seniors a new home, while providing an excellent resource to assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, or even home health and caregiving services in one easy-to-navigate website. So please visit SeniorLivingGuide.com today. I would also like to thank our podcast sponsors, Parish Healthcare and Parish Medical Center. At Parish, they offer the Parish Senior Consultation Center and Parish Senior Solutions, where each patient's evaluation and follow-up care will be personalized to meet the needs of the individual and their families. I would like to introduce everyone to Jen Lee, creator and host with the I Need Blue podcast. She's absolutely fabulous. She brings a lot to the table, and today we'll learn a lot about her story and some of the topics that she talks about that are so super relevant to really everyone, but more and more with seniors and caregivers about safety. It's becoming something that we need to be more and more aware of. That is a topic I wish we didn't have to talk about. But tell me a little bit about yourself and to our listeners as well.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited to be here and share my message with your listeners. So as Darlene said, I'm Jen Lee. I am creator and host of I Need Blue podcast. I started my podcast about a year ago because I am a survivor of armed robbery and abduction, and that happened about a decade ago. So I decided to take that experience and create a podcast. So there was a platform for other survivors of life events to share their stories. One thing I find when we talk about our situations, it becomes part of our healing process. And it doesn't matter what you've been through in your life. You don't have to have gone through some sort of violent crime to have experienced trauma or sadness or just need a place to talk about it. So I provide that. And then I partner with local, national, and international organizations to provide resources. And that's pretty exciting because I like to spotlight those who help others. I think that's important. In conjunction, I also give thanks to those who protect us, our first responders and law enforcement, because I was asked, Jen, how did you all escape the abduction? And I said, we were rescued by law enforcement. And I would be more than happy to share some detail with you. But Darlene and I kind of discussed what we wanted to focus on in this episode. And it truly is about situational awareness, because I recently experienced a situation which brought that to the forefront for me. And we thought that might be a good topic to focus on today.
Yeah. And you and I, we meet out and just chitty chat. And as you were talking about this, I experienced something very relatable when my daughter was very young. You know, we go about our daily lives, and if you're not paying attention to your surroundings, you can totally miss it. And I think that that's where you can find yourself in a little bit of trouble. So tell me a little bit about what happened with you and when you realized it was happening.
Oh, absolutely. So I had gone out of town for a conference a couple of months ago, and it was a social media conference because we're all podcasters. This is what we do. And while I was there, I met a gentleman who initially instinctually, something didn't feel right. But I was like, okay, Jen, are you being mean? Are you being superficial? And so I acknowledged my instincts of something's not right, but I also kind of shelved it. We took a picture and he put it on our social media. And there were other pictures with other individuals as well, so it wasn't just me. But throughout this conference, I started to realize he would be in similar places that I was, and my body started to become more aware of his presence. The next day, I met up with a friend for lunch at the conference, and later that day, this gentleman came into a happy hour event, walked straight to our table, sat in front of me, is like, "Hi, Jen." And I was like, "Hi." And I was observing my friend observe him, and I could tell that he was kind of thinking the same thing I was. And I looked at him and I said, "Do you think he's kind of creepy?" And he said, "Yeah, there's something just not quite right." And he was having conversation with some ladies, and he really wasn't paying attention to the conversation and more kind of checking them out. The next day, Saturday, I decided I was going to leave the conference early. Me and my friend had been walking. We already passed the guy going the other way. And so I figured when I had to walk to my car, I would be okay. In the hotel, you have to walk outside in the back of the hotel, get the elevator, and that's how you got to the parking garage. So maybe not the safest setup for that, but it is what it is. I am headed through the lobby, and off to my left, I see this guy. His back is to me. But I remember thinking, how did he get past us? I don't remember him going by where me and my friend were standing. I could feel, I kind of picked up my pace a little bit and put my head down. And in that moment, I realized that he really kind of was, his presence was unnerving to me. I get outside, I hit the elevator button, the doors open, I get in, 2 ladies get in, the doors are closing. I remember looking down at my phone and taking a breath, like, okay, I'm safe, I'm okay. And then I see feet. The elevator doors are almost closed. I see feet. There he is, pushing open the elevator doors. I'm sure my eyes popped out of my head. He turns sideways, gets in. Mind you, there's another elevator, so there was no reason for him to have to push his way into this elevator. So now I have this guy, the 2 ladies, and me. And he looks over at me and he says, "Did you have a restful evening, Jen?" I just remember thinking that's not a normal question, and things in me, the red flags, I'm starting to feel like, hey, this is not good. And I said yes. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you leaving?" And he was not expecting a question, and he kind of stuttered and was like, I'm going to my car to get water because I'm parched." And that's exactly how he said it. Everything in me at that point was like, nope, you can't get off the elevator with him. You can't go anywhere with him because, mind you, we just left a hotel full of free cold water. And now you're telling me you're going to go to your car to get hot water because our cars are parked outside. Elevator doors open. Ladies get off. He gets off. He turns around. He's waiting for me to get off. I look down at my phone and I say, I got to go back. He looked at me and there was this grunt of agitation, disappointment, almost mad, frustrated that I didn't get off that elevator and the door shut. I texted my friend. I'm like, "I'm on my way up. I need you to walk me to my car." So I meet my friend. I tell him what happened and he was like, "Oh my gosh." He was like, I'm going to report that to the event coordinators, but we need to get you to your car. And I said, "Thank you." And he could tell that I was visibly shaken by the whole ordeal, especially what had happened in my past. So we're walking through the hotel lobby again, and here I see the guy walking towards us. No water bottle, nothing in his hand. And my friend pushes me behind this pillar to where my body was hidden, and he can see the guy, though, walking towards us. The guy stops on the other side of the pillar, looking at his phone as though she's supposed to be here, but I don't see her. I do believe that he was tracking me, and that particular hotel did have public Wi-Fi, and I've learned since then that that is one way that people are able to kind of track you if they have the right software to do it. He turned to the right and went to the water fountain and got a drink. And my friend's like, come on, we got to go. He walks me to my car and he looked at me and he said, I didn't realize what it was like for you as a woman to have to be aware of your surroundings all the time. And I said, yes. I said, I am aware of my surroundings. You have to be, because you just never know. I don't know this guy's intentions. I just know the answer he gave me was not normal, considering all of the circumstances. So I drove home, and I remember it was the next night I walked out to the living room and I said to my husband, I need you to give me a hug. And he gave me a hug and I just cried. And he was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And I said, he scared me. I said, he really, really scared me. And I ended up calling the sheriff's department in the county where this was located. And there was no crime committed, but at least they have the information and I have an incident number and whatnot. One thing the law enforcement officer told me is, she said, you have every right to say to somebody, you're making me uncomfortable.
I like that.
But that brought to the forefront, like what we're talking about, situational awareness. But it also brought something else that we don't think about, which is we teach our children stranger danger, right? You don't get in a car with a stranger, you don't talk to strangers. But in the world we live in today, especially as a business person, a business owner, a podcaster, content creator, we are quick to give out our social media information and not think twice about it. And if we stop and think about everything we put in there, we're giving a lot of people, a lot of strangers, access to our lives. And I was guilty. I used to tag myself where I would be places, and I don't do that anymore. It just really brought that back to the forefront for me.
Right. With a lot of our seniors, they're very trusting. People should be trustworthy, and they're not necessarily. Even just something as simple as someone coming to the door, just being aware that not everyone is being honest or truthful when they're trying to tell you a story, and being accepting of what people are trying to say to you, like, I'm going to get a water bottle. We all should be trustworthy. We should trust each other, but that is not, unfortunately, the world that we're currently living in. And I think that it's super important just to be more aware of our surroundings. So it's great that you started noticing those different things that just were off, or you could have been just, I want to say, going la, la, la throughout your day, and then found yourself in a bad position once you walked out of that elevator, because your spidey senses were not going off. And they may have been more elevated based on your previous experience. Do you think maybe that's the case? Or do you think people are just getting more tuned in to their surroundings?
I think in that moment I was more tuned into my surroundings. Initially, like most people, when I was like, oh, he's kind of creepy, I was kind of doubting that feeling, but then it just didn't stop. It was that nagging feeling. For me, afterwards is where my past, those triggers started to come into play. And it's why I cried. It's
Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. And you should trust your senses. If something feels off, it's probably off. It's better to be safe than sorry, to be cautious. You and I were talking the other day about something that happened when my daughter was very young. I was a very young military spouse. My husband was deployed. My daughter was less than a year old. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go walk around the mall. It was evening, or it got dark, I think, pretty quickly. It was winter time. And I put her in those little umbrella strollers, and I'm just perusing the mall just, to get out of the house, because you're going to go crazy sometimes, right? And I realized the same person was standing outside the store. Now, I never spoke with him. You had interaction. I never had interaction with this person, but I noticed he was standing outside the store every single time I came in. Now, he never went into a store with me. But really, the only thing I remember in recalling this is that he had what I call high waters on. His pants were really short. I started taking notice of this. So I actually started testing him, because I would just start going into stores just for no particular reason. But then I started thinking, I want to go home now. I've got my little daughter here in this umbrella stroller. And I started calculating in my head, if I walk through this main store, which is where I was parked out of, how long will it take me to get her out, get her in her car seat, get the umbrella stroller, put it away, get in my car. How fast can I do that? I'm calculating that if he's following me. And I'm thinking, I can't do it. I was panicking. So I popped into the last like little store right before you enter like the main Macy's or Dillard's. I don't know what it was at the time. And I just walked up to the counter and I said, can you call security for me? And she said, are you okay? I said, just call security for me. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm crazy. And it seemed like security was taking forever to get there. It may have been just a few minutes. I have no idea. And then I started questioning myself and I was like, I'm going to turn around and he's going to be gone and I'm going to look like a crazy lady. Well, I turned around and there he was standing outside that store. And so I started yelling, why are you following me? And he took off and ran through that main store. And the security guard was just now coming down the hall and he started running after him because I think it was clear that something was wrong and nobody caught him. I was so scared to go home because I didn't know how long he'd been following me. Did he follow me from the road when I was traveling in? Did he follow me from the parking lot? Did he know where I lived? I had no idea. I don't remember his face. And it's just, if he wasn't wearing those pants, I honestly don't know if I would have remembered him. I don't know if I would have noticed him. One thing that I have done is in parking lots, I don't let strangers approach me. If someone's approaching me that's a complete stranger, that to me is very scary. It's more at night, I think, that I'm more cautious, but I'll say, excuse me, I don't know you, please. And it's nothing against you, but please don't approach me. And it's just because I don't know if someone gets close to me in a parking lot at night, it could be game over and they could be approaching to because they need, help with something. But I can tell you, there's probably not much I can help you with. I'm not going to be able to jumpstart your car. I'm not going to be able to help you with a flat tire. I'm not going to be able to help you with anything. So do not approach me. Do not get close to me. It will not go well because I will start screaming because I do have those concerns based on what happened to me. But it's about being really aware of your surroundings and not taking that risk, because then I started having nightmares. What were his intent? Was his intent to go after my daughter? Was he going to take my daughter? Was it to steal my car? Was it to grab me? Was it both of us? I have no idea. I still to this day clearly don't know. I think, as we do this podcast and I talk with seniors and I talk with caregivers and I see all these different things as crime is continuing to elevate against our elderly, against our seniors, it's heartbreaking to me. I want to really get the message and share that being aware of your surroundings and how to be aware of them with all the podcasts that you do and all the people that you talk to, what would you recommend on how to be more aware of your surroundings?
I've learned a couple of things. Number one, I met a lady who ended up in a bad situation, but she was at Walgreens purchasing laundry detergent. And just in conversation with the sales clerk, she says, oh, my roommates are gone. I'm really excited to be at home by myself. Well, there happened to be somebody in the store that overheard that. And this was somebody who was not a good man. And she ended up becoming, a victim of a crime. So we don't think about the conversation we have with people. I mean, we do it all. Hey, I'm going on vacation, or hey, I'm leaving, gonna go see my grandkids, whatever. Another thing is, especially as women, I tend to dig in my purse when I leave, like the grocery store, whatever. Maybe it's to find my sunglasses, whatever. I mean, nowadays everybody has keyless entry for the most part, so we don't need our keys. And that's bad because I've turned my back on a whole parking lot of people and situations. A big thing now, especially with our younger generations, is our cell phones. We're very focused on our cell phones that we don't even recognize where we're walking. What I love about your podcast and the platform is, while it is focused on seniors, a lot of times the seniors, they spend time with their grandkids. And so they have the opportunity to maybe even tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, when you're walking, put your phone in your pocket or something like that. This gives an opportunity for seniors to kind of learn some safety things, but also to share some things with their loved ones.
Yeah. Even the other day, so I'm so focused on my phone. I have a white Ultima, which everybody has a white Ultima. It's probably the most popular car in America right now. I walked out of the store and I went to open someone else's white Ultima, and I'm realizing I am not focused. So thank God they were not in it, and thank God the door was locked, or that would have been really embarrassing. We get so focused, we're not paying attention. I will tell you this, one thing I do when I'm in a parking lot, and I think it's really important, is I'm very well aware when I'm getting in a car, if there's someone in the passenger seat in the car next to me. I'm very thoughtful on what's happening in the car next to me when I'm getting in my parked car. Not that I don't get in my car or I wait for them to leave or anything like that, but I'm very quick, I'm very cautious, and I lock my door as soon as I get in that car. Those are some important things to notate as well.
I used to work for a company and they all wore uniforms. So when you were talking about people coming to your door for pest control or whatever, there are particular companies that will invest in their employees, but also their company to get them uniforms, because it is known that when one of your representatives shows up at a door in a uniform, not only is it more professional, but it also increases that level of safety.
Right. And I think, seniors, a lot of female seniors live by themselves. A lot of seniors outlive their husbands, so they are living independently. But I think when they're out and about, if they feel uncomfortable and they are going home to an empty house, I think to say, my husband's at home, or my grandson's at home, or my son is at home. And even if that's not the case, to make that story up. If they feel like someone may be over listening or may take advantage, to make someone think that there's another person living in the home or will be in the home when you arrive. There's no shame in that if it's a safety issue.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. You never want to let people know that you are, quote, alone. So like you said, even if you're in church and just talking with somebody or out to breakfast, that's a really great point. Yeah, and the other thing is go out as a group. If that is possible, I do a lot of networking, and some of the ladies, they all drive together and come together. They live in the same community or neighborhood. And I think that is fabulous. Not only is it fun, right, to go out with your friends, but without even realizing it, you're putting yourself in an even safer situation.
And one of the things that I think is important to talk about too is home care. If you ever need someone on the home care side, we have a lot of home care companies. One thing that my mom had home care that came in after she had several surgeries because she couldn't drive, but she really connected with just one person. So she would have the same person that came time after time. And she really just enjoyed her company. And she would have her go with her and run errands. So that's something that if you have home care coming in, potentially utilizing that time to run some of those errands, it can actually be really fun if you enjoy your home care provider. It just popped into my head, something to kind of notate, because I do remember some of those stories. My mom would go to the Hallmark store with her. She really enjoyed that. And the Dollar Tree.
That's great. You know what I loved about when you said it just popped into your head is this is why conversation is so important. You learn from each other, and then ideas are born in different ways to help each other. And I think that that's so cool and really important.
Let's take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
At Parish Healthcare, we believe in our community. We believe in keeping our community safe. We believe in the art of healing. We believe in healing patients, healing families, healing communities. We believe in the best and brightest working together for the common good. At Parish Healthcare, our team focuses on you as an individual because every life is a work of art to us. Parish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life. Visit parishhealthcare.com/healthaware for a free health risk assessment.
Hey, Mom, how's the retirement home search coming?
Oh, my gosh. I'm just so stressed out. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, why are you so stressed? What's the matter?
I don't know where to find anything. I just need everything in like one place and know what all the options are.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing seem overwhelming and you just aren't sure where to even begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com has great news for you. We offer a one-stop solution to take the stress out of your senior housing search. At SeniorLivingGuide.com, both our statewide Florida edition book and website are created to make your senior housing search very easy for you to navigate. We provide details on communities, including retirement, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and home health, allowing you to decide which best fits your needs and then connecting you directly with those communities. Visit us online at SeniorLivingGuide.com and start your search today.
I love seniors. Seniors, in all honesty, they're my heart. I love them. My parents were the epitome of politeness when it came to, even going to doctor's appointments and things like that. I would go to doctor's appointments with my mom. She never wanted me to even question doctors. And I was always very polite, but I felt like the doctor, you are the patient. He works for you. There's no issue with you questioning the doctor. But a lot of seniors have been so respectful of other people and things like that. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we still need to question anytime we have the Spidey feelings or we feel like there is a potential that something's not quite right.
I think that these types of situations have existed forever. It's just now with social media and these different platforms to talk about it, there's just a lot more awareness. And that's really important. And I think our seniors, well, they didn't grow up with social media and all of the stuff that we have. They obviously, it exists now.
We have social media on the Facebook side. Seniors are definitely on it. Boomers specifically, caregivers are on it, and they are sharing information on the social media because they want to see what's going on with their grandkids. It's super important for them to continue to stay connected on the social media side. And I would never even recommend that they become socially disconnected from their family because for some of them, it's the only outlet that they have to see those family members, especially if they're not local. Families are so spread out now. When I grew up, and I don't know how you were, but all my family, we were all in like an hour radius. If we had Christmas, we all went to my grandmother's. It wasn't a question of, hey, where are you going for Christmas? It was, well, we're all going to grandma's and everybody goes there. And it's like 60 family members in one house. And we do the same thing every year. And it was amazing. It was a wonderful, incredible childhood to have all of those memories. Now it's, what are you doing for Christmas? Now, every Christmas you have to figure something out. And I don't see my daughter year after year. And I will see my son. Maybe I will see her. It just kind of depends. And we have it at different people's houses. The traditions are all chopped up versus what they were, where you knew you were going to get grandma's turkey every year. We're living in a very different world. But on the social media side, now, you can share your location. You share your children's names. You share, where your grandkids go to school, where they're going to dance. They've got their names on the front of their outfits. All of these different things are sharing without sharing. You want them to be able to do that, but it could be a potential for opening yourself up as well.
I think it's a very individual decision of what you want to share, when you want to share it, how you want to share it. Everybody uses their Facebook, their Instagram, all of that for different purposes. And I think it's just to be aware.
Yeah, oversharing some of those things. While you love to talk with people, unless you know them, I think to share too much personal information that makes you vulnerable is something that could be a safety hazard, and you don't even really realize that you're doing it because you don't know people, you don't know their intentions. The hard thing for me is, some seniors can be very lonely. So they don't have a lot of people that they can chat with during the day because they're at home by themselves. So that when they do go out to a restaurant or a grocery store or running over to the CVS, they will talk to people because they're social, and who can blame them? And sometimes they may overshare some things or personal details that might be potentially harmful if they're sharing it with the wrong person. So I think it's just, don't be afraid to talk to people, but sharing too many details that could put myself in a vulnerable position, like, where I live or, personal information, can definitely put myself in a bad position.
At Parish Healthcare, we believe every life is poetry in motion, motivated by strength and determination. As your bone, muscle, and joint healthcare partners, we believe in blending the art of healing with the science of medicine to keep your body in motion. We believe in healing patients, healing families, and healing communities. For a free orthopedic health assessment, visit parishhealthcare.com/orthoaware. Parish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life.
There's so many different ways that a senior can protect themselves just by being aware of their surroundings. technology has just taken off, and it can be super easy technology, a device at your door that when the doorbell rings, you can see who's there before you go to the door, and you can speak through it. So you don't actually have to open the door. I think that's really important because anyone can push through a door when you open it to speak to them. And if you're unaware of who they are, but seniors can definitely do it to have a conversation with the person standing outside the door, which is super easy, inexpensive. These products are so affordable right now.
And I'm seeing those devices more and more. Even I go to my neighbor's house or whatever, and I'm like, hi.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes. And hopefully they're amazing crime deterrents because more and more people have cameras on their homes. So as people are in neighborhoods, hopefully these are deterrents to anyone thinking they're going to do anything shady within those neighborhood blocks.
You said something really interesting because I interviewed a law enforcement officer previously, and we talked about these devices. We talked about cameras because we have cameras up on our home. And the one thing he said is they are great. They're good deterrents. They keep track of things. But he said sometimes it creates a false sense of security for the homeowner to where they are not quite as aware of their surroundings because, I have a camera, it'll pick it up.
It makes sense, but I think you have to cautiously not allow that. You have to be aware because the person committing the crime may not be aware that the camera is there, so it could still happen. I still think you have to always be aware. You just have to be aware of your surroundings. I think you have to be aware of oversharing.
I think really the best deterrent and the best way to keep each other safe is if we look out for each other. If you're in the grocery store and you see a senior in front of you and you have to go out to your car as well, maybe kind of be in their presence. Yeah. Kind of watch them as you go to your car. Just make sure they get to their car okay, things like that. We're all people. We're all neighbors. We're in the same community. So really helping each other and being aware. It's not just kind. Yeah. But it might, really help to prevent someone from becoming a victim as well.
I agree with you. I think we need to start looking at our neighbors on both sides of our homes and in front of us, in the front and the back of us in the grocery stores, and loving each other. And I think that we're so busy in our daily lives that we're just so focused on self and where we need to go next and what we need to get done. And we're missing the big picture. We're all in this together. We don't know what everyone is going through on a daily basis. There's so much stress and strife, and it's such a crazy world. And then I look at our seniors, and so many of them are so alone and they are by themselves. I really do hope that we can come to a point and we can start really taking a look at our seniors and just loving on them more, paying attention to them more, and giving back to them because they've given so much. We're all going to be seniors one day. I think so many people think, they're just older people, they're seniors. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be there. So I think it's really important to look out for them and protect them. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jen. And if you have not checked out her podcast, it's I Need Blue Podcast. And everyone, you need to stay safe out there. If you enjoy this podcast, we can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have, I think, 40 podcasts now. So check us out. And I would also like to thank our podcast sponsor, Parish Healthcare and Parish Medical Center. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Darlene. I appreciate the opportunity. And again, check out my podcast, I Need Blue, at www.ineedblue.net.